Ever have one of those days that turns into something you'd only expect in a horror movie? Well, here's mine. A visit to the mall that ended in a chilling revelation. After a typical day of wandering the mall's fluorescent-lit aisles, I returned home, tired and looking forward to some peace. But that's not what awaited me. As I stepped through the front door, my heart dropped. My house was a complete mess, furniture toppled, belongings strewn across the floor, as if a storm had swept through. Panic bubbled up, and I struggled to catch my breath. Every corner of my once familiar space now felt like a threat. I frantically dialed the police, my voice shaky as I reported a possible break-in. They assured me they'd send someone over. But in the meantime, I couldn't just stand there, vulnerable and terrified. I grabbed a heavy book, my heart pounding as I slowly started to explore room by room. Each creak of the floorboards made me jump, my imagination running wild with worst-case scenarios. I wanted answers. Why had my home been violated? My search eventually led me to the kitchen. Heart pounding, I pushed the door open, only to find a man standing there, illuminated by the soft glow of the refrigerator light. My voice caught in my throat, and for a moment we locked eyes. His expression was unreadable, his gaze intense, and then he lunged at me, his movements quick and aggressive. Adrenaline surged through me, and I swung the heavy book with all my might, connecting with a sickening thud. He staggered back, and I didn't waste a second. I bolted out of the kitchen and dialed 911. Minutes felt like hours as I hid, listening to the sound of approaching sirens. When the police arrived, they found the man still in my kitchen, subdued and disoriented. Turns out, he had a history of criminal behavior, and my home had been a target of opportunity. It was a terrifying ordeal, one that shattered my sense of security and left me haunted. But through it all, I realized how quickly fear can turn into determination. I fought back, not just for myself, but for my home and the safety I had every right to feel. After a day at the mall, I returned home, exhausted yet content. It felt good to unwind after hours of shopping and people-watching. The evening was quiet, just the way I liked it. But little did I know, a different kind of unease awaited me. A few days later, I noticed a moving truck parked in front of the house next door. New neighbors, I thought, brushing off the coincidence. But curiosity got the best of me, and I couldn't resist glancing out the window as the newcomers unloaded their belongings. The couple seemed friendly, smiling and waving as they noticed me watching. They even came over to introduce themselves, the woman's voice cheery and the man's handshake firm. They seemed perfectly normal, just a couple settling into their new home. As the days went by, we exchanged pleasantries, casual chats about the neighborhood and the weather. They invited me over for a cup of coffee, their smiles warm and inviting. I accepted, grateful for the gesture of neighborly hospitality. But one evening, as I sipped coffee in their living room, my eyes caught something. An intricate symbol carved into a wooden ornament on the shelf. It was an odd design, unsettling in its complexity. I brushed it off, thinking it might be some sort of decor choice. As the conversation flowed, they mentioned their love for local history and traditions. It was during this conversation that they casually mentioned their fascination with the occult. A chill ran down my spine, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Days turned into weeks, and the unease grew. Late at night, I'd hear faint chanting from their house, whispers that carried on the wind. Their smiles seemed a little too rehearsed, their eyes too knowing. One day, while passing by their house, I noticed the symbol from the ornament etched into the pathway leading to their door. My heart raced, and it was like pieces of a puzzle were falling into place. The unease turned into a full-blown fear. I decided to do some digging, and what I found was unsettling. A history of rumors and dark practices associated with their past. It seemed they were part of something far more sinister than I had ever imagined. Terrified, I distanced myself, keeping my interactions with them minimal. But the feeling of being watched persisted. It was like a cloud of darkness had settled over the neighborhood, and their presence cast a long shadow. From that day on, I kept my distance, my heart heavy with the weight of the sinister secrets that had invaded our once peaceful community. It's a reminder that sometimes the most unsettling things are hidden behind friendly smiles and welcoming gestures. One day I went to the mall, and that feeling turned into something far more unsettling. As I stepped into the mall, I couldn't shake off the sensation that someone was following me. I brushed it off, attributing it to the crowded place. But no matter where I went, every glance over my shoulder revealed a girl. Her gaze locked onto me. I tried to ignore it, browsing through stores, pretending like everything was normal, but the unease grew with every step. Finally, I decided to confront her. "Do I know you?" I asked, my voice shaky. She looked taken aback, as if caught red-handed. "Oh, sorry. I thought you were someone else," she stammered. I was skeptical, but I let it slide, figuring it was some bizarre misunderstanding. However, as I continued my shopping, she was there, lingering in the corners of my vision. It was like a relentless game of hide and seek, and I was the unwilling player. It was beginning to mess with my head, making me question my own sanity. Hours later, tired and fed up, I left the mall. To my surprise, she followed. That's when alarm bells started ringing. My heart raced as I quickened my pace. She matched my steps, her presence looming close behind. As I approached my car, I realized she was blocking my path. Panic surged through me, and I demanded to know what she wanted. Her response was chilling. "Just come to my house. I have something important to show you." I declined, my voice trembling, and made a dash for it. But she was fast, surprisingly so. She grabbed my arm, her grip cold and unyielding. The situation escalated from weird to dangerous in seconds. Refusing to be a victim, I fought back with everything I had. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I wriggled free and bolted for my car. The engine roared to life as I sped away, leaving her behind in a cloud of dust. Later, I reported the incident to the police, who assured me they'd look into it. The feeling of being watched didn't leave me, though, and I couldn't help but glance over my shoulder for days. It's a sobering reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, it takes everything you've got to escape its clutches.